You miss one setting and you're not recording with your actual microphone. You're recording with a mic on your laptop. And yeah, it's a good thing that I check these things, otherwise I'm getting to that age where I start forgetting shit. And that's no good. Anyway, it feels like every day toward the end of the year is like a special day. There's the solstice, and there's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and Boxing Day and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And then there's a bunch of other religious holidays that I don't have any idea what they are that surround all this stuff. And I don't know what it is. So today's the 23rd. It's like 2 days till Christmas. And I want to start the show this week. I'll probably do one again, either on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, or the weekend, one or the other. But I wanted to start this one out with wishing everyone a happy holiday, no matter how you celebrate or who you celebrate it with, and to say, if you want a happy-go-lucky podcast to send you off into this, couple days before Christmas. I don't know, stop here and move on or something. Cause but I'm going to be as positive as I can be. So let's see how I do. Welcome back to Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm the Trent from the title of the show. Thank you once again for joining me. Before I even really get started, I want to say I lost it. Well, I wouldn't call him. He was a former colleague. Worked with him. He was a member of the Ziggins, a wonderful band that I saw play so many times. I would consider him like a loosely affiliated friend, but I had an old friend pass away a couple of days ago. So John Powdy, an amazing dude, a good dude, really influential on me when I started my career at Knott's Berry Farm way back in the early mid-90s. Looked out for a young guy just getting started, and he's a good dude. And I wish him, wish his family all the best moving forward. And I'm sorry for your loss, as well as his friends. Good guy. Sorry, John. Loved you. So with that out of the way, I do want to get on with the show. I do this show. Everybody who listens to this show for a long time knows that I do this show as kind of a time capsule for my kids, as a way to look inside somebody else's head. And then there are other benefits to it that I think people might appreciate. And that's why I do it as a hobby. This is my hobby. And I release it into the world because, reasons. I think that we need to be connected in as many ways as we can. And sometimes that connection is over frustration with, the way things are with current events in the world. They're very frustrating. It's a very frustrating time. But I do try to be positive, and I try to bring a positive spin to things, even though sometimes it's, uphill. It's been a crazy week. I did a couple shows last week, and I forgot to do the one about boycotting Spotify, which has been it was a thing 2 weeks ago, and now nobody's talking about it anymore. I do want to get back to it before and move on from it permanently. There was a lot of calls to boycott Spotify because Spotify was running on the monetized podcasts. Advertising for ICE recruitment. And, of course it's fucking ridiculous. Why? First of all, why? Second of all, they obviously weren't doing a great job of checking to see what shows they were attaching advertising to, because a lot of shows that, let's just say, would not be the audience for that advertising were getting that advertising, and that's probably not wise. Anyway, if you're going to boycott Spotify for that, I understand. We all are going to do what we're going to do. But in doing so, you're also boycotting all of the creators that put their stuff there. And the same thing with YouTube. If you haven't been paying attention, YouTube shows Department of Homeland Security commercials a lot. And even with my algorithm trained the way I've got it trained, which is lefty. Yes, commie hippie socialist tricked out for the liberal agenda. I still get the Christy Nome telling you that, telling illegal immigrants to self-deport. I still get that ad. Okay. If we're going to boycott Spotify for that, we have to boycott YouTube for that. And we're going to have to boycott a whole lot of places for that because, if you think about it, it's like handing the government a veto over what we watch or how we stream or how we do things. If we're going to boycott every time they do something, you can get away with some stuff like the Kimmel, cancellations that brought Kimmel back on air, and he signed an extension. So good on him, and good on ABC and Disney for not folding. But no, I'm not going to pull my stuff off Spotify. I don't agree with their decision to take those ads, but I also don't agree with a lot of shit that goes on a lot of the platforms that this podcast is available on, including YouTube itself. So it is what it is. I just say, be mindful. That's all. Be mindful. If you want to boycott Spotify because they don't pay their artists enough, the artists that provide their content enough, that not podcasts, but like the actual like bands and stuff that have all their music on Spotify that they get like fractions of pennies for every listen. Like if you want to boycott them for stiffing the artists, that's respectable. I'm actually kind of with you on that. But yeah, the ICE commercials thing, shit. They're running those things all over cable TV, all over broadcast TV, all over streaming services. I'm just saying it's kind of everywhere. It's kind of pervasive at this point. So that's that. I mean, I can walk away from that. And then I want to walk on to the next thing. And we're going to save Epstein for the end. We're going to walk on to the next thing, which was what happened on Sunday, which is 60 Minutes, one of the longest running news programs in our nation's history. 57 years, I believe it is, 57 years. Pulled a special. Actually, it was basically the meat of the show because it was about the Sikot prison in El Salvador and the deal that the United States government had and sending deportees down there and without due process. Anyway, they had done this extended piece on Sikot and the United States' role in that. And Barry Weiss, formerly of the easy for me to say, formerly of the Free Press, now in charge of CBS News, which is hilarious. She's never been a reporter or an editor, so good choice. She was put in charge because she's a conservative. She's a. Anyway, they pulled this very embarrassing segment after having run it by everybody anyway. One of the correspondents for 60 Minutes for CBS 60 Minutes came out and basically blew the whistle on them, saying that they had cleared it through the CBS bigwigs 5 times, through the lawyers 5 times, through standards and practices. It was done. And Barry Weiss says, no. And the correspondent says that Barry Weiss, pulled the segment for political reasons. Now, Barry Weiss, I guess they're saying that that the White House did not comment on it, and therefore it wasn't receiving both sides. But that's like handing the White House a veto power over every story you run. All they have to do is be quiet, and you never run a story. This was a bad decision, and it was a wildly bad decision for multiple reasons. Number one, you've destroyed the credibility of CBS News and of 60 Minutes of the program. They promoted it on their social medias all week, saying we're going to run this on Sunday, and then it comes Sunday and they don't run it. In fact, they made a big deal out of not running it. It's bad. Now, do you go to CBS, or do you know that anything you hand to CBS, anything CBS covers, is now basically at the whims of the White House, which is just ugh. Funny story though. CBS Canada didn't seem to get the memo, and they ran it. They ran the full piece. So the bootlegs of it have circulated online on social medias in the States. We're officially at the bootlegging our own news from outside the country and bringing it into the country portion of the resistance here. So Canadian CBS ran the piece in full. It was also leaked to independent media because that's what should happen. And they're taking it down as fast as you could put it up on YouTube. But ultimately, you're not going to be able to they can't keep it in the bottle. Everybody's seen it now. So the good news is, a piece that had it just aired would have been seen by probably like 2 to 3 million people, has now been seen by approximately 10 to 15 times that already. And the number continues because it's the Streisand effect. If you hide it from the public, they want to see it more. Ha ha ha! You stupid bastards. I've said on this podcast, I know not how many times, the funny thing about the truth is you can't hide it. You put lipstick on the pig. You can, dress her up however you want. Dress the pig up. I always imagine it as a pig in drag. So it's a boy pig, only he's wearing girly clothes. Anyway, that's so weird. I was raised on Warner Brothers cartoons that were produced in the 40s and 50s. And one of the funniest tropes was Bugs Bunny was always running around in drag. Anyway, you can try to hide the truth by disguising it however you want. You could try burying it. But in the end, it always sneaks back out. It always comes out. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it's damn near immediate. But these are fun times, aren't they? So, what do you do with CBS now? Good golly. We'll see what happens, but the CBS newsroom is in absolute revolt over this, as they should be. So, do with that knowledge what you will. Okay, Spotify, CBS News. All right. Those are the two, backlog things I had to do. Now, I called it on the Epstein files. Of course, they broke the law wildly in their partial release, and what they did release was so horribly redacted. For instance, the grand jury material for the original, not the original, but for the 2019, was it 2019 or 2018? The prosecution of Jeffrey Epstein, 2019? I know the grand jury material was 119 pages. All of it was blocked out, but they released it. The 119 pages of just black redaction, black boxes, the 119 pages of boxes that you can't read through. So there was that. They also put up a bunch of pictures and stuff, some of which disappeared afterwards because they had Trump in them because yeah. Absolutely insane. And Todd Blanche, the assistant attorney general, deputy attorney general, I guess is technically the title, deputy attorney general, was on Fox in the morning going, we're not releasing everything. we're going to release the first batch and then more will follow, as we comb through, it's one excuse after another with these guys. They also didn't do the redactions properly. They redacted, instead of redacting some victims' names, which they left in, they redacted a lot of perpetrator names, which, okay, if they're not part of an ongoing prosecution, then, or investigation, then they shouldn't have been redacted. Also, every redaction was supposed to have written information as to why it was redacted and under what grounds, and they didn't do that for any of their redactions. So basically, this whole thing, they broke the law on so many levels. The guys who wrote the law, Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, are going to try and impeach Pam Bondi and Todd. I think his name's Todd Blanche. They deserve it. They both deserve it. It's a bad look again. Hiding the truth. And yeah, second tranche came out yesterday, Tuesday, in the early evening. And apparently it was like accidental. Like they put a bunch of stuff in there they didn't want to put in there. So they had to try and claw that back. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. This thing is never going away until they come clean about it, and they're never going to come clean about it because, and I've said this before too, whatever's in there is worse than this cover-up, which is really crazy. Like, it's, what? Yeah, nuts. I think that they say the cover-up is worse than the crime. Like, that's the old political adage. Cover up is always worse than the crime. In this case, that can't be true. It just, like, otherwise they would have come clean about it because they've been covering it up for ages and it's been ugly the whole time. And as to all the people who are like, well, why didn't the Bidens release this? I don't know. Why did the Biden Department of Justice release this stuff? I don't know. I'm not in that. I wasn't in that. Doesn't matter now. They're not in charge. The people who are in charge got into place. Part of their whole screed was, we're going to release this information and bad guys are going to be taken down. Okay, great. Let's do it then. Let's find out what happened. Like, this guy, they've been investigating this guy before he died in 2019. While somebody was president. Who was president back then? That's right. Donald Trump was president back then. And in charge of the Bureau of Prisons where he died. It's conspiracy theory nonsense. There's no allegation in there. This guy's been under investigation since like the 90s. I want to say it was 96 or 98. And the FBI ignored it back then. Ooh, that was the Clinton FBI. Bad. And then the Bush FBI and the Bush prosecutor for the District of Southern Florida. Anyway, I mean, this thing goes way back, and a lot of bad things have happened along the way. We'll just say it that way. I don't want to get in deep into the weeds on this because it's horrifying material. Obviously a lot. There are thousands of victims here. And the only people that went to jail were Epstein himself and Ghislaine Maxwell, who was transferred from a maximum security prison to a minimum security Club Fed style prison in Texas. Yeah. And that's it. None of the other perpetrators, none of the people who these young women, still girls, teenagers were trafficked to have ever faced any kind of justice for this. So, do I ever expect to see all this stuff? I don't know. Rich white guys have a tendency to get off the hook for most things. I'm sorry. That's just a fact. We do have multiple different tiers of justice in this country, and it's not fair, and it's not just. It's not justice. you can get all the justice you can afford, to put it plainly. And that's gross. And that's absolutely vile. So what are they going to do? Well, the House of Representatives has a lot of work to do. So Mike Johnson made sure that he sent everybody home on Thursday afternoon. So they've been gone, back at home, and they're not coming back until January. Because, you don't want to be in town when stuff like this happens. Do you? Then you would be expected to do something. Yeah. So, not good. None of this is good. All of it's bad. And these people need to be held to account. We'll stop. On the other side of the ledger, I do want to point out that this is fun. We're going to move on to another topic. Okay, so we're going to move on to another topic. I'm sure the Epstein files will be brought up countless times between now and, 2028. 9. I want to do something from the other side of the ledger. Came out last week that the Democratic National Committee has decided that they are not going to release their post-2024 election autopsy, after action report. They call it it's an autopsy when you lose, I guess. But it's a report that they compile about what went wrong in the 2024 election. How did you not get the traction you wanted to get? Where did we lose voters? Anyway, they decided they're not going to release it. Even though the new head of the DNC is a guy named Ken Martin from Minnesota. He ran on releasing this thing and really diving into it and finding out where we went wrong and where we can go. We, the Democratic Party, can go better in the future. And apparently he's not going to do that. Is that the new political thing? To run on, we're going to do this thing and then win and then not bother doing the thing? Because that's got Trump written all over it. The thing about this after election report is it could prove to be incredibly helpful, to consultants who would look like idiots, for the record, because consultants call the shots behind the scenes. And then, campaign managers listen to the consultants, and then they do what the consultants tell them to do. And then they lose, and then they turn around and look at the consultants and go, what the fuck, man? And, like, for example, Kamala Harris had 107 days to run for president, which is freaking madness. There was no process. Everything about what should have been the Democratic primary was ruined by Joe Biden deciding only he could beat Trump, which was a real feat of selfishness and vanity from a person who probably knows better, honestly. Anyway, he remains the only person to have beaten Donald Trump in a presidential election or primary. He was a very consequential president. He actually passed a lot of very, very important legislation to get us out of the pandemic. They claim that the government spending led to our inflation, which is weird because the entire world suffered from inflation that was even higher. And was that our fault? Did we cause inflation around the world? Or what? Yeah, I don't buy the our government did a bunch of stuff wrong at the end of COVID, and that's why we ended up with the inflation that we had. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. The supply chain was jacked because somebody, I'm not going to mention who, Donald Trump, and his administration decided that they didn't want to take COVID-19 seriously, Donald Trump and his boys. And because they didn't, because they fought things like masking and contact tracing and fucking testing. Oh my God, they fought against testing. Like, we won't know, the numbers won't be bad if you don't test. That was People forgotten this. We fucking memory hold this. That was Donald Trump's response to bad testing numbers. Stop testing. What the fuck, man? Oh, talk about some serious ostrich bullshit. Whether you stick your head in the sand or not, you're still in danger. Anyway, I don't buy it. Anyway, Kamala Harris had a really short amount of time to run for president, and Joe Biden was wildly unpopular because inflation was pretty rough. Even though presidents don't have a whole lot to do with inflation unless you do stupid shit like increase tariffs on imports or really fuck up the labor force by, I don't know, deporting a bunch of people or threatening a bunch of people. Even that has a negative effect. I mean, only an idiot fuckhead president would do something like that, and that would affect the economy in a really negative way. Yeah, that's exactly what has happened over the last 11 months. Anyway, you gotta be kidding me. She was trying to thread an impossible needle, which was not running too far away from Joe Biden. Not being able to say we did something wrong here or there. Not having to say, well, me being president won't be a continuation of the same thing, even though I'm a part of this thing that I'm proud of. I mean, and I wouldn't do anything differently, like she said on The View. Oh, God, that was probably stepped in it really hard. Like, there were a lot of mistakes throughout that, including running really tightly with Liz Cheney instead of embracing the base and saying, you know, hey, we made some mistakes in this Israel-Gaza thing and not putting more pressure on Netanyahu to stop this war. That wasn't hard to do, but she wasn't allowed to do it. And by wasn't allowed, I mean, they kowtowed her, and she should have just followed her gut and gone for it. But what do I know? What do I know? All I know for certain is they're not going to release this autopsy, and they definitely should. After action report, but they certainly should. And honestly, it'll probably get out anyway because the truth always gets out, doesn't it? Pieces of it will be leaked, or all of it will be, like, the damaging stuff will get leaked, and then they'll be like, oh crap, if the damaging stuff's already out, we might as well release the rest of it, because that's how Democrats handle bad shit coming out. Ah crap, bad stuff's coming out, we might as well just get ahead of it now and dump the rest. And usually that's what Democrats do. Now what Republicans do, Republicans just double down. Republicans, Mike Johnson is completely unaware of any of Donald Trump's behavior since he took office. Completely unaware. Hey, did you see this Truth Social tweet? Did you see this crazy ass interview that he gave? Did you see this crazy ass thing that happened in the Oval Office this morning? You know, did you see the freaking announcement that he made from the Oval Office last night on television? And Mike Johnson's all, no, I'm not familiar with any of that. You know, I work 23 hours a day. I don't know what's going on. You fucking moron. That's the number 3 person in line to the presidency. And he pretends all the time like he doesn't know what's going on. And nobody presses back and goes, you know, you look like an idiot right now, right? There are people who work 9-to-5 jobs every day that don't have any fucking stake in this matter, but they pay attention to it every day, all the time, because it's important to be in the know. And you play it off like you just, like, you can't be bothered with it. Why doesn't anybody push back on this wax statue possessed by a demon that is Mike Johnson? Yuck. Push back on this guy. Push him into a wall or something. I want to see somebody just come out of nowhere and hip check him. Am I advocating? No, that's not truly violence. It's like hockey. I don't care for this man. He doesn't care for us. I don't know why anybody should care for him. He's a real pile. There are some real cracks beginning to form in the quote unquote MAGA coalition, especially with women. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is retiring from Congress on January 5th, which is 2 days after her 5th anniversary in Congress, meaning she'll be fully vested in her government pension. Good call, Marge. And then Just last week, Elise Stefanik announced that she's not only stepping down from the New York governor's race, but she will also not seek re-election to the House of Representatives in her current district in upstate New York. So, and why are they doing this? Because it turns out that not only is, this administration regime, I call it a regime, horrifying. Sorry about that noise, by the way. There was no landscaping going on all morning long. It's about to rain buckets on us. So I thought for sure they're not going to bother doing anything this afternoon. And there they are. So right outside my garage door. Thank you very much, guys, with your blowers. It's just stunning. I should probably cut this loose and say goodnight soon. Anyway. There's some real cracks growing. Elise Stefanik is not running again. And they're saying it's because, it turns out this is a misogynist movement and women have no place in their world. Women have no place in their government. Women have no place in decision making. When it comes to MAGA, if you're not a white, straight Christian male, you might as well pound sand. So, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to hop in, get this one in before your Christmas time so you can listen to this and not have to deal with it, have this stuff in your head. Let this stuff go. Okay? When you get to this point of the show, just start letting it go. Let it go and say, I know that it's hard to not think about the people who are hurting in this world, but take some time to really appreciate the most important things in life. And they're not artificial intelligence. It's not your cell phone. It's not our digital world, even though ironically I'm telling you this on a digital platform. It's the people that you surround yourself with and the way you interact with others. Those are the most important things. So try to do so, with kindness in your heart and love for those people closest to you. Don't love strangers all the time because that can get you into trouble. But you can absolutely do something kind for a stranger. That won't hurt you. Probably. Be careful, okay? Please. Thank you all for being with me on this journey. I appreciate you all so very much. Enjoy your holidays, no matter what form they take. And I hope that you all will join me again later this week or this weekend. And into the new year as we fight back against the oppression of I wasn't supposed to talk about this anymore. We're supposed to be positive going forward. That's right. 2026 is the year where we come out of the funk. That's right. Out of the funk. 2026. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to coin it. I'm also going to play the Powerball lottery. It's at $1.7 billion. Oh, mama, that's a lot of scratch. But thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. I so appreciate you all. Be kind to each other, okay? It's the least we can do. And until next time, love you.